All right, so some of you may not need this video. If you've used Gizmo before and you're good at reading your instructions, you might not need it. But I just want to make sure, in case you were confused, you already had some help. So when I get on Gizmo, I'm going to choose Launch Gizmo. And I would highly suggest I might not do it right now. I'm afraid it's going to make it too small for the video. I'm not going to split my screen, but I would highly suggest you split your screen. So let me put it on flat. So, okay, your worksheet looks like this. And your beginning part, your prior knowledge, you don't actually need the gizmo for. It says do these before. So it says a house sits on a small hill near a lake. The elevation or height, so elevation means height, of each point above the lake is shown. We can see it here by the contour lines on the landscape. So these lines are called contour lines. Suppose it rained for a while and the lake level rose up 5 meters. Would the house be safe? So look at where the house is now. Look at where the water is. If the water rose to the 5-meter line, would the house be safe? As in, would it be underwater or would it still be dry? So when you explain, you would say, yes, it would be safe because the house would still be dry. It's above 5 meters. Or no, it would not be safe because the water would be above the house. What would happen if the lake level rose to 10 meters? So if it rose to the second line, the 10-meter line, what would happen? And that's just what do you think would happen based on what you see there. Now you are completing the actual gizmo. So now you will need to split screen for real. It says a topographic map is a map that contains contour lines, which are just the lines on the map, to show elevation or height. Each contour line connects points that are the same elevation. The Reading Topographic Maps gizmo allows you to see how a 3-dimensional landscape can be represented by a 2-dimensional map. So a topographic map lets you see 3D, but it's only 2D. So it's flat. It's on a flat piece of paper. You just finished Knuckle Mountain, so that should kind of make sense. Because when you held your knuckles up like this and you drew, it was 3D. But when you opened up your hand, it's now a flat piece of paper. You can still see the lines and how they represent elevation. So it wants you to try each tool before you start. So I probably shouldn't have gotten rid of that. All right, so the first tool we're going to try rotate and then zoom in and zoom out. So rotate is right here. And you click it and it allows you to rotate the land feature. So your left side is your 3D, because notice you can see the elevation. Your right side is your 2D. So this is what it would look like in real world. This is what it looks like on a map. Let's try zoom in. So you click and then you can zoom in. You have to click over here to zoom in. Zoom out. Click, 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 zoom out. Click the add button and then click several times on the landscape and to add a hill. Then dig a hole using the subtract button. So add button. Let me zoom back in because that is annoying. All right, so these buttons are very, I guess I should say, sensitive. So I'm going to click the add button and I'm going to click over here and notice how it changes and changes. So every time you click, it's going to change. It's making more lines, so it's getting taller over here. Look at how cool that is. Look, the more I make, the taller it gets over here. That's wild to me. But just if you want to subtract, you just click subtract, and now I can take them away. So over here, I'm going to make a crater. So it's kind of cool if you look here and then you look over here and you're like, look what I did. It's a crater. So if you subtract the lines, it gets deeper. If you add the lines, it gets higher up, higher in elevation. Now use the slider to change the water level. Look out for a flood. All right, so we're going to use the slider to change the water level. So notice where the water goes first. It's going to the lowest point. How can water stay up here on top of a mountain when it could run down? It's going to run down to the lowest point. Flood. So it's kind of cool. And then activity A is where you kind of really start doing the assignment. The warm-up just had you testing everything out. Make sure that you do what is in this box before you start. I can tell you right now that if you're having problems, it's because you're not reading the instructions. The instructions are going to be really important on this. All the words you need to know are defined for you. Like it says, look at each contour line. If you read up top, it already told you what a contour line is. All right, so it says to get the gizmo ready, click flat to start with a flat landscape. So I'm going to click flat. Set the contour interval to 50, set the water level to 0. So I see contour interval is already set to 50, so I'm good to go. Water level is 0, so I'm good to go. Okay, select add and then click the center of the landscape exactly 4 times. Click horizontal view and use the zoom in tool to magnify the landscape. Click add, click the center of the landscape exactly 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I already forgot what it said. Oh, click horizontal view and use the zoom in tool. So horizontal view. Ooh, fancy. And use the zoom in tool. So look, the smaller our circles get, the higher up we are on the mountain. All right, what land feature have we created? So did we create a crater or a hill or a mountain? Hill, mountain, same type of thing. So did we create a crater or did we create a mountain? Look at each contour line on the horizontal view on the left. What do you notice? What do you notice about each line? How are they changing? As you start from the bottom and move to the top, are they getting smaller or bigger? Notice that one contour line is labeled with an elevation of 500 meters. See? 500 on this one. This is an index contour. The elevation is given in meters above sea level. Because the contour interval is 50 meters, each line above the index contour represents an elevation gain of 50 meters. Okay, that's a lot of words. You have to read that and really try to think to understand it. So it tells you that one of the lines is labeled 500. They labeled that for us. It tells you the contour interval is 50. And then what it goes on to explain is that each line represents a change in elevation of 50 meters. So let's look on this side. Let me make sure. Let's zoom in some more. Is it going to let me? No? Okay, that's as far as I can zoom in. Okay, so every time you go up a line, you are increasing 50 meters in elevation. You went 50 meters higher. So if I start at 500 and I go up to the next line, I'm just adding 50. So you can use a calculator. 500 plus 50 is 550. I go up to the next line. I add another 50. So now I'm at 550 plus 50 is 600. If I start at 500 and I go down, I'm going to subtract 50. So I start at 500 and I go down to 450, to 400, to 350, to 300. So let's see what our question says. What is the elevation of the highest contour line on the hill? Hint, start at 500 meters and count up by 50s. So we already did this. The highest contour line is going to be the smallest one because look over here. The smaller the lines get, the higher up you are. So we start at 500 and count up by 50. 500, 550, 600. So the highest elevation on this map is 600 meters. What is the elevation of the lowest contour line you can see? Hint, start at 500, count down by 50s. I already did this. Let's count down. 500, 450, 400, 350, 300. Bam, the lowest elevation is 300. All right, get the gizmo ready. Click flat. Select horizontal view, set the water to 0. Flat, we're already in horizontal view, water is at 0. All right. Use the add and subtract tools to create an asymmetrical mountain similar to the one shown on the right. The right side of the mountain should be steep and the left side of the mountain should be gentle. All right, so I'm going to let y'all figure that out because that's kind of the point. But you are going to use the add tool. You're going to click on here to make a mountain that is similar to this. You may have to restart. If you click and you're like, wait a second, that's not similar to the picture, click flat and restart. The only thing I'm going to explain to you is that steep means it's straight up. It's hard to climb. I always say that steep is not grandma friendly. You're not going to take your grandma up the side of the mountain that is steep. Steep is like the stairs at football games. They go straight up in a stadium. So this side of the mountain is steep. Gentle slope is this side of the mountain. So here's steep, gentle. Gentle is something that like it's safe for a wheelchair to be pushed on, like wheelchair ramps when you enter a building. This is grandma friendly. You can take your grandma up a wheelchair ramp. You don't want to take her straight up the side of the mountain. So steep, gentle. All right. Once you create that mountain, it says compare the landscape in the picture above to the map. How does the spacing of the contour lines relate to the steepness of the mountain? So you're going to say, when the lines are close together, I notice. You can delete these words if you want to. I put them in there if you want to use them. But if you want to use your own words, go ahead. And then you have a few more questions, which I think y'all can handle on your own. I'll do a little more with you. I'll do a little more. All right, it says a hiker wants to climb a mountain. He's afraid of slopes that are too steep. I don't blame him. He doesn't want to go straight up the mountain. So look at the map to the right. Describe the gentlest route. All right, so what you should see is, let's see. Okay, I'm going to stop there. So it's not perfect, but look, these lines are more spread apart. The slope is more gentle. These lines are really close together. The slope is steeper. The gentlest slope is right here in the beginning, and then it gets pretty steep. I didn't do a good job. So the further spread apart the lines are, the more gentle. The closer they are, you're going up in height fast. Because remember, each line represents 50 meters. So if they're close together, you're going straight up real fast. If they're spread apart, you're going up slowly. So this hiker, if he wants to go on the gentlest route, he does not want to go here. He does not want to go up the right side of the mountain because look how close those lines are. It's steep. Right now, he's on lines that are spread apart. That's gentle. So use directions like to the left, to the right, or north, west, east, south to describe where he should go on the gentlest, most grandma-friendly route. Remember, he wants the lines that are spread apart. And it says the contour interval on the map is 50. What is the approximate elevation of the hiker? So it's counting by 50s. If this is 250, and we go down, I can tell we're going down because up here is 500. So 250, 200, 150, 100. What is the highest elevation of the highest contour line on the map? Okay, so you're going to start at 500 and you're going to count up by 50s to the smallest circle. I'm going to let y'all do that because you can do it. Start at 500, count up by 50s. And then last one is asking you, what is the elevation of point A? Point A is down here. So you're starting at 400 and you're counting down. What is the elevation of B? Start at 800, count up. And change in elevation. So how different are they? Remember, if you're in math class, if it asks you for the difference, that's the same thing as asking you for the change. So you're going to subtract A and B. All right. Y'all got it. You can do it. Good luck. We will take notes on this tomorrow and learn more about it. Today, you're just exploring and getting an idea of what these maps look like, how they work. So don't stress. We'll take notes tomorrow.